Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this card making project. Now we're going to make a card today that's got some of my favourite stamps in the whole wide world. And everything I do use I will put in a detailed description on my blog. There will be a full list of items. Even if I forget an item in a project as we're making it, I will put it on my blog. You can comment on my blog and you can comment on Facebook and I can get back to you. So if you've got any questions, those are the places to ask. You can comment on YouTube, but I can't reply to you. So that's our housekeeping over and done with. Let's play. The first thing we're going to use is our base card. My favourite size, 7x5. And it's the perfect size for this particular card that we're going to make and this particular design. Now on my cardometer, this is how it looks. The blue one is the 7x5 inch card, and the largest card on our cardometer is the A4. A5 is A4 folded in half. However, if you're across the pond, my friends in the US, this would be your A3, and so on downwards. But all you need to know is concentrate on that blue section. That's the size that we're going to use. And that should give you an idea at home of what size we're going to use. She says, repeating herself. I've got a bone folder from the Griffin tool collection. And I'm just going to make a nice sharp edge along the edge. And that will give a professional crease when it's stood on the mantelpiece. Now this card I think is easily adaptable. You could use any of the stamps in the chalkboard range from Anna. And you could use different sentiments if you wanted. So I'm going to start with the inside first. Now the inside is very simple. I've taken a piece of the Griffin metallic lace cardstock and I've die cut an oval out of it. I will be using the oval on the front of the card, but I didn't want to waste the actual metallic cardstock, so I'm using the negative from the die cut and then the positive will be used on the front. I've got an awful lot of tape on the back of this and I've no idea why. I must have, well, as I would call it, a Friday afternoon job. I must have been asleep on the job and just putting lots of tape on. Because when I prepare everything, I normally just like whoosh, tape, and that's it. But I think I was thinking that I need it to go around the oval in the centre to make sure it sticks nicely. So I've just simply stuck that in to the centre of the inside. So I know it's slightly off now looking at it through the camera, but I'm not going to worry. So anybody who picks up on the fact it's slightly off, don't worry about it. I'm not perfect and I don't pretend to be. Looks good enough for me. So that's our base. Now the first thing we've just done. On the front of the card, we're going to be using some red Morning Glories. See, I can remember the name of this one. And I've taken the top of one of the 3D stickers, like this. I've trimmed it and I've put it through the Xyron. So I've made it into a flat sticker. And then I've used one of Anna's chalkboard stamps and stamp the word best wishes in black stays on. Now a lot of people, that that the chalkboard stamps are my favourite stamps, and they have been for a long time, and I'm asked a lot about how to get the perfect stamp with them. I use stays on and I use black stays on, and that gives me that true chalkboard. I'm going to say blackboard, I know we're supposed to call them chalkboards, but it gives me that true blackboard, chalkboard finish of the crisp black, and it looks like you've written in white. Now this is on ivory cardstock, so, and it still gives it that effect. I've taken the flower and the little stamped image from the chalkboard stamps through the Xyron machine. The Xyron machine doesn't affect them whatsoever, and I'm simply positioning those like that through the centre of the bottom of the oval frame, and that is our insert finished. Very simple, but believe me, that will go with our very ornate outside. So now we can turn our attention to the outside. I've got to say that I think this card is for more of the advanced card maker. I know a lot of my cards are based for people that are beginners, people that have used Anna products for a lifetime, and most of them, you know, you can just sit back and, I'm going to say throw together, because everything goes together. However, this one, I think, oh, she says, oh, there we go, panic. This one is kind of, it is more advanced. I've done it again, look. It is going to be for somebody that has stamped before. So I've just tried putting that on for my matten layer. Now, actually, that's kind of like perfect, she says. If for any reason you're like me and you can never get your matten layering on straight, don't do the inside first, do the outside first, and then you could trim it. I could trim that down and you would never know. But because I've had an oops moment and stuck it on and it's all cockeyed, and because I've done the inside and the inside's nice and square and perfect, I can't trim it down. So let that be a lesson to you for when you're doing your insides. So now I've stuck that on cockeyed, it's probably going to make this nice advanced card quite redundant. Anyway, we'll go along with it. Pretend it's on straight. So for our first layer, we've got black cardstock. And for the next layer, for our matten layer, I've taken one of the summer, fall paper layers from Anna, and it's a red and ivory foliage pattern. It's like a floral foliage. It's very pretty, and it's I would call a ditzy print because it's a smaller print than normal. So that's our matten layer for the base of our card. Now we do some repeat stamping, and repeat stamping is a technique. I love repeat stamping. I've done many a video on repeat stamping to show you how to do it. I've used the Best Wishes stamp, the same stamp that we used on the inside of the card, and you simply stamp it repeatedly and line everything up. And then for me, I've stamped it all and I've die cut an oval out of it. Now sometimes it takes a little bit of practice to get everything lined up. This one isn't, and I want to show you how you can just rectify something, because maybe you've got this. Maybe this has happened to you, and maybe you've got a gap between your stamping. The easiest thing to do is to take a pen and fill that gap in. Now my pen won't match the black ink that I've used to stamp with, but I'm showing you how to use and fill in the gap to get rid of it, so that you'll be able to find a pen that matches, or take some of your ink that you've used already and fill it in, so that you can get rid of that gap. And then, like that, it's gone. So I've used a darker, sounds silly, a darker black, But if I used a pen that matched the stays on colour, or dipped maybe a fine line solid, you know, the blank pens you can get, not the blending pens, put something into the stays on and took it down the edge, you could get rid of any gaps that you might have, any oops moments. So once I've done my repeat stamping, I've cut out an oval, and then we can start putting together the front of the card. So the oval from the centre panel that we used, you see how we've got the gap there? That's where that came from. So I've got double-sided tape on the back of it. Now, don't panic that there's a big black ink smudge on there. You won't see it because I'm going to cover that up. So if, like me, you get dirty paws when you're playing with ink, don't panic because you can cover it over. If it's a great big smudge that you're going to see, then obviously think about it, you know, whether you want to carry on. But mine's going to be covered over, so only you and me are going to know that it's there, nobody else. This is the oval that I've cut out of the repeat stamping, and I've taken an ink pad around the edge to get rid of any ivory that might be there after I've die cut it. And I've just got double-sided tape on the back, and it's going to fit in the oval that we've already added in the red, like so. Next, I've got two embossed red ovals and two black flat cardstock ovals. The embossed ovals, I've used Artful Patterns from Anna Griffin in Floral Ground. I've got double-sided tape on them, and I'm simply matting and layering the embossed oval onto the black oval. And the oval dies were the press cut layering dies, and you get about, I think it's about 13 different ovals in different sizes. So we've got two ovals that we've matted and layered, and I'm simply going to stick these at the side of the oval that's we've got the repeat stamping on, and I've put them at an angle like so. I'm going to try and get them roughly the same, like so. There we go. So now we've got some nice texture on there from our embossing. Next, I've got two little flourishes, and these are dies from the flip card dies from Anna. I've got double-sided tape at one end, and I've got 3D foam at the other, and I'm simply going to position them over the top of the embossed oval, like so, trying to get them. Now this, for me, because it's a symmetrical card, I'm in my element, because you know me, I kind of like these where they have to be symmetrical, because that's just me. I must be the architect running through my family somewhere from my granddad when he was an architect, liking things that are symmetrical. So those are my floral scrolls from the flip card collection. Next we've got our red Morning Glories, and I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the back of these, and I'm using Glossy Accents. These are stickers from Anna, and just want to make sure that they stick nicely onto the embossing that's why I'm just adding a little bit of extra glue. So I'm peeling the back of them away and then adding the extra glue on the back, just a little bit, and then sticking it over the embossed floral oval, like so. And next I've got the sentiment to add. So I've cut a little square of red metallic cardstock. I've got double-sided foam down the centre of it because I'm going to stick it between the two ovals like that. Lift it up a little bit, maybe about there. There we go. And then I've got a sentiment to go on top of that, and it's just another one of the stamped best wishes, like so. And then I can finish the card off with a little bow, like so. Finish that off there perfectly. So that is such a pretty card, something a little bit different, and we've got some great techniques in there. We've got our repeat stamping, our embossing, and that just brings it to life, the double layering and making the repeat stamping a focal point as well as the flowers. Now it stands up nicely and the inside matches perfectly to the outside. You see how the inside might be a little bit, I don't want to say plain, but it is a lot plainer to the outside, but it still matches perfectly. You could play around with the inside, you could add more detail, you could flat emboss the actual frame, so you could take it through the embossing machine in the same embossing folder as we've used for the ovals, tint it a little bit and then take it through to flatten it, and you've got the pattern. You could really go to town with this design, but I love the way that we've got the symmetricalness of the flowers and the ovals, and it all just works so well. Stands up nicely. You wouldn't need any extra protection, I don't think, over it, and it would not go in a normal envelope. The extra height that you've got is only really from the bow on top of the sentiment, so you could make the sentiment stick onto the ovals if you didn't want the extra height. And that is just such a pretty card, easily adapted, so you could use different chalkboard stamps from Anna's range. But that has to be one of my favourite cards so far. So please share, because I've truly enjoyed making the videos, and I just hope you enjoy watching as much as I enjoy making them. Share with your crafty friends, share in your crafty groups on Facebook, Twitter, you name it, you share me, because if we can reach more people, it's such a great hobby, is crafting, and I want to sort of spread the word this year about my videos, and because you're my faithful watcher, I could just do with your help a little bit. So thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time.